What if I told you that getting rich is an exact science? What if I told you there's a formula, a specific way of thinking and acting that guarantees wealth, and it works for anyone, anywhere, regardless of your background, education, or current circumstances? In 1910, a man named Wallace Wattles figured out this formula. He went from broke and struggling to wealthy and successful by following these exact principles. Then, he wrote them down. In this two-part series, you're going to discover the scientific law that creates wealth, not luck, not connections, not hard work alone. Why do some people get rich while others stay poor doing the same work? The exact mental attitude that attracts money like a magnet. How to think in the certain way that makes wealth inevitable. Why gratitude is literally the key that unlocks abundance. This is part 1. By the end, you'll understand the foundation, the core principles that everything else builds on. Part 2 will give you the action plan. Exactly what to do step by step. Turn up the volume. Take notes. This isn't theory. This is a proven system. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Your right to be rich. Let me start with something controversial. You should want to be rich. Not kind of comfortable. Not getting by. Rich. And anyone who tells you that wanting wealth is greedy, shallow, or unspiritual is lying to you, and probably broke themselves. Here's the truth. You cannot live a full, complete life unless you are rich. No one can rise to their greatest potential, develop their talents fully, or give their best to the world while struggling financially. It's impossible. The 3 things you need. 3 things make up a complete life. 1. The body. You need health, vitality, energy. You need to eat well, live in a good environment, rest properly, and have time for physical activities. This requires money. 2. The mind. You need books, travel, education, and intellectual stimulation. You need time to study and learn. You need freedom from constant worry. This requires money. 3. The soul. You need love, beauty, music, art, time for relationships, and spiritual growth. This requires money. Notice, I keep saying this requires money because it does. Anyone telling you otherwise is selling you poverty disguised as virtue. Love is not enough without money. The greatest gift you can give those you love is the power to help them live fully. A parent's first duty isn't just to love their children. It's to provide them with abundance so they can develop to their highest potential. A partner who truly loves you wants you to have everything that brings you joy, growth, and fulfillment. That requires resources. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be rich. In fact, wanting to be rich is wanting to live a fuller, more expansive, more generous life. The science versus the art. Now here's where it gets interesting. Getting rich is not an art. It's a science. What's the difference? Art depends on talent, creativity, or special gifts. Science depends on following specific laws. Music is an art. Some people have natural talent, others don't. Mathematics is a science. Anyone who learns the principles can get the right answer. Getting rich is like mathematics. Follow the formula. Get the result. It doesn't care about your talent, your personality, or your background. Location doesn't matter. You might be thinking, but I live in a small town with no opportunities. Wrong. People get rich in small towns and big cities, in rich countries and poor countries, in booming economies and recessions. Two people can be in the same business, in the same neighborhood, with the same skills. One gets rich, the other stays poor. Why? Getting rich is not about location, industry, or luck. It's about doing things in a certain way. Talent doesn't matter either. You don't need to be the smartest, most talented, or most educated person. Plenty of geniuses die poor. Plenty of average people become wealthy. Many people with incredible talent, education, and work ethic struggle their entire lives. Meanwhile, people with less talent, less education, and an average work ethic build fortunes. The difference? One group thinks and acts in a certain way. The other doesn't. It's not about saving or sacrifice. Some people try to get rich by being extremely frugal, cutting every expense, denying themselves everything. This doesn't work. You cannot get rich by saving alone. You get rich by increasing your income, not by decreasing your expenses. Yes, be wise with money, but the path to wealth is earning more, not spending less. Your starting point doesn't matter. But I have no capital to start with. Neither did most wealthy people when they started. Capital is the result of getting rich, not the cause. You get capital by applying the principles you're learning right now. The capital follows the correct thinking, not the other way around. The system works for anyone. This is a science. When you plant an apple seed correctly, you get an apple tree, whether you're a master gardener or a complete beginner. When you think and act in a certain way regarding money, you get rich, whether you're currently broke or already comfortable. The law doesn't care about your current circumstances. It only responds to your application of the principles. Here's what you need to accept right now. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming the economy, your job, your location, your education, your past mistakes, or your lack of connections. The path to wealth is open to you right now, wherever you are, with whatever you have. But you must start by accepting this truth. Getting rich is your right, your privilege, and your responsibility. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect. Now. Are you ready to learn the formula? Chapter 2. There is a science of getting rich. Let me prove to you that getting rich follows specific laws. Not luck, not chance, not randomness. The law of cause and effect. In this universe, nothing happens by accident. Every effect has a specific cause. If you plant wheat seeds, you get wheat. Not sometimes wheat, sometimes corn, always wheat. If you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius at sea level, it boils. Every single time. Not sometimes, always. Getting rich works the same way. Do specific things in a specific way. Get special. The proof is everywhere. Look around. People in every industry get rich. People in every location get rich. People with every personality type get rich. But they all have one thing in common. They do things in a certain way. They may not even know they're doing it. They might think it's luck or hard work. But when you study them closely, you find they're all following the same invisible pattern. And when you follow that pattern, you get the same results. Why most people stay poor. Most people do things in the way that everyone else does them. They think the way society teaches them to think. They follow the herd. The herd is broke. The herd is stressed. The herd is struggling. If you do what everyone else does, you'll get what everyone else gets. Not enough. To get different results, you must think and act differently. The certain way explained. The certain way isn't mysterious or complicated. It's not secret knowledge hidden from the masses. It's simply this: thinking about wealth in a specific way and taking specific actions based on that thinking. That's it. But within that simple statement lies the entire formula for creating wealth. The rest of this audiobook breaks down exactly what that way of thinking is and what those specific actions are. This isn't about manipulation. Some people hear science of getting rich and think it means manipulating others, taking advantage, or being ruthless. That's the opposite of what this is about. The certain way is about creating value, expanding life, and contributing to others while enriching yourself. You don't get rich by taking from others. You get rich by giving more value than you're paid for. Natural law, not man-made rules. The principles you're learning aren't someone's opinion or theory. They're natural laws, like gravity. You can't break gravity. You can only work with it or against it. You can't break the laws of wealth creation. You can only align with them or resist them. When you align, money flows to you naturally, easily, inevitably. When you resist, you struggle, no matter how hard you work. The foundation of everything. Here's the core principle that everything else is built on. There is a thinking substance from which all things are made in its original state. It fills and penetrates all space. A thought held in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. Let me break this down in modern terms. Everything that exists, your phone, your house, your car, your bank account, started as a thought in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on was once just an idea. The technology you're using to listen to this was once just an idea. Money and wealth are the same. They start as thoughts before they become things. How this actually works. You don't create wealth out of thin air through wishful thinking alone. That's not what this is saying. Here's the process. 1. Everything is made from one original substance. Think of it like the universe is one massive field of potential. Some people refer to it as energy, consciousness, or the quantum field. The name doesn't matter. 2. A thought impresses itself on this substance. When you think clearly and consistently about something, you're literally sending out a signal, a frequency, an instruction to this field. 3. The substance responds by creating the thing. But it doesn't just manifest magically in front of you. It comes through natural channels, opportunities, ideas, people, and circumstances that lead to manifestation. Why this isn't woo-woo? Before you dismiss this as spiritual nonsense, remember, everything you use daily was once considered impossible. Flying through the air? Impossible. Until airplanes. Talking to someone across the world instantly? Impossible until phones. Carrying all human knowledge in your pocket? Impossible until smartphones. The impossible becomes possible when someone understands and applies natural laws that others don't yet understand. The law of wealth creation is just another natural law. It exists whether you believe in it or not. Thinking versus wishing. Most people wish for money. That doesn't work. Wishing is vague, weak, and inconsistent. It's saying, I hope I get rich someday, while thinking and acting like a poor person. Thinking in a certain way is precise, powerful, and consistent. It's holding a clear mental image of what you want, while thinking, speaking, and acting like someone who already has it. See the difference? Everyone has access to this. You don't need to be spiritual or enlightened to use this. You don't need to meditate for hours or join a monastery. You just need to understand the principle and apply it consistently. A mechanic can use this. A teacher can use this. A student can use this. Anyone can use this. The substance doesn't care who you are. It only responds to how you think and what you do. The mistake most people make: people learn about visualization or thinking positive and then wonder why it doesn't work. Here's why. They visualize for 5 minutes. Then spend the other 23 hours and 55 minutes thinking, speaking, and acting in complete opposition to what they visualized. That's like planting a seed, then digging it up repeatedly to check if it's growing. You must think in a certain way consistently, not occasionally. What's coming next? Now that you understand there is a science to getting rich, and it's based on specific, reliable laws, we're going to go deeper. In the next chapter, you'll discover exactly how to think in this certain way. Not vague advice like be positive. Specific, practical instructions you can start using immediately. Because remember, this is a science. Follow the formula, get the result. Chapter 3. Is opportunity monopolized? Before we go further, let's address the elephant in the room. Maybe you're thinking, this all sounds great, but the rich control everything. All the good opportunities are taken. The system is rigged against regular people. Let me be blunt. That's a poverty mindset, and it will keep you poor forever. The opportunity myth. Yes, certain people control certain things. Yes, some industries are dominated by established players. Yes, there are monopolies and unfair advantages. So what? None of that prevents you from getting rich. Here's why. Wealth is not a fixed pie where someone else's slice makes yours smaller. Wealth is constantly being created, expanded, and multiplied. New wealth is created every day. Think about this. 100 years ago, the richest people in the world had never heard of software companies, social media influencers, cryptocurrency, or 1,000 other wealth-generating industries that exist today. Those industries didn't exist. That wealth didn't exist. It was created. Right now, in 2025, there are forms of wealth being created that didn't exist 5 years ago. And 5 years from now, there will be new forms of wealth that don't exist today. Opportunity isn't monopolized. It's infinite. The right industry doesn't matter. You might think, I need to find the right industry, the hot industry, The growth industry. Wrong. People get rich in dead industries and go broke in boom industries. I know people making fortunes in businesses everyone said were dying. I know people who lost everything chasing the next big thing. Industry doesn't determine wealth. Your way of thinking and acting determines wealth. Location still doesn't matter. But I don't live in Silicon Valley, New York, London, wherever the money is. Good. Less competition. Some of the wealthiest people I know live in places you've never heard of. Some of the most broke people I know live in the most expensive, opportunity-rich cities in the world. Geography is an excuse, not a reason. You have the internet. You can reach billions of people from your bedroom. Location is irrelevant in 2025. Capital still doesn't matter. The rich get richer because they have money to invest. Yes, they do. But they got that money to invest by first thinking and acting in a certain way without capital. Every fortune starts with someone who had nothing but an idea and the willingness to act on it. You need capital to multiply wealth quickly. You don't need capital to start creating wealth. Your capital is your mind. Your investment is your thinking. Your return is inevitable if you apply the principles correctly. The system isn't against you. Yes, some people start with advantages. Yes, some people have connections. Yes, life isn't fair. But here's what's also true. More people are becoming wealthy from nothing today than at any point in human history. The internet has created more millionaires in the last 20 years than existed in the previous 2,000 years combined. The barriers to wealth have never been lower. The excuses for staying poor have never been weaker. The competitive mindset is poverty. Here's where most people go wrong. They see wealth as a competition. I need to beat others to get ahead. I need to take market share from competitors. I need to be smarter, faster, better than everyone else. This is the competitive mindset, and it's exhausting, stressful, and ultimately limiting. There's a better way. The creative mindset. Competition versus creation. The competitive mindset says, there's only so much to go around. I must take from others to gain. Success means someone else fails. I must guard what I have. Others are threats. The creative mindset says, there's unlimited wealth available. I create value rather than taking it. My success helps others succeed. What I give multiplies what I receive. Others are opportunities for collaboration. See the difference? One is based on scarcity and fear. The other is based on abundance and confidence. Guess which one creates lasting wealth? You don't need to beat anyone. When you operate from the creative mindset, you're not in competition with anyone. You're not trying to take customers from someone else. You're creating new value that attracts people naturally. You're not trying to get a bigger piece of the pie. You're baking a bigger pie. The beauty of this approach, there's no limit to how much wealth you can create because you're not depending on taking from a fixed supply. Why overnight success is a lie. You see someone suddenly get rich and think they got lucky. They were in the right place at the right time. That's rarely true. Usually, they've been thinking and acting in a certain way for a while, maybe years, building momentum invisibly. Then suddenly, it all clicks into place and becomes visible. It looks like an overnight success to outsiders, but it was actually the inevitable result of consistent application of these principles. Your overnight success is building right now, invisibly, if you're doing things in a certain way. Monopolies actually help you. Wait, what? Here's the truth. When certain people monopolize an industry, they create stability and predictability. That stability allows you to focus on creating value within or around that system without worrying about constant chaos and D. Plus, monopolies get comfortable and lazy. They become vulnerable to innovation. That's your opportunity. Every dominant player is an opportunity for someone thinking creatively to provide value they're missing. Starting where you are. You don't need to move. You don't need to change industries. You don't need to wait for the right time. You start where you are, with what you have, right now. The question isn't, is there opportunity for me? The question is, am I thinking and acting in the way that recognizes and seizes opportunity? Because opportunity is everywhere for the person who thinks correctly. The truth about fairness. Life isn't fair. Get over it. Some people start ahead. Some people have connections. Some people get lucky breaks. None of that matters. What matters is whether you are applying the principles that create wealth, because those principles work regardless of your starting point. H. You can complain about unfairness, or you can get rich. Choose one. Your advantage. Here's your advantage. Most people don't know these principles. Most people who learn them don't apply them consistently. Most people who apply them give up too soon. If you simply understand this science and apply it persistently, you're already ahead of 99% of the population. That's not arrogance. That's mathematics. The opportunity isn't monopolized. The knowledge isn't secret. The path isn't blocked. The only thing between you and wealth is your willingness to think and act in a certain way, starting right now. Ready to learn exactly what that certain way is? Chapter 4. The first principle. Thought is creative power. Now we get to the foundation everything else is built on. This is the principle that, if you truly understand and accept it, changes everything. Here it is. There is a formless substance from which all things are made. This substance fills all space. A thought held in this substance produces the thing imagined. Let me translate that into plain 2025 language. Everything that exists started as a thought. Your thoughts have creative power. When you think in a specific way, you set forces in motion that bring your thoughts into physical reality. Why most people don't believe this? Your logical mind immediately resists this idea because you've been thinking your whole life, and you're not rich yet. If thoughts create reality, why am I still broke? Great question. Here's the answer. Random thoughts don't create reality. Focused, consistent, emotionally charged thoughts, held with absolute faith, create reality. There's a massive difference between casually wishing you were rich while worrying about bills, holding a clear, vivid, detailed mental image of wealth, while feeling grateful as if you already have it. Most people do the first. The science requires the second. The substance behind everything. Modern physics actually supports this ancient principle. Scientists have discovered that at the quantum level, everything is made of the same fundamental stuff: energy vibrating at different frequencies. A rock seems solid, but it's actually mostly space with energy vibrating slowly. Your body seems solid, but it's also mostly space with energy vibrating at a slightly different frequency. Everything is made from the same source substance, just organized differently. Thoughts are frequencies. When you think, you're literally sending out a frequency, a vibration, an electromagnetic signal. This has been measured in labs. Brain scans show electrical activity. Thoughts produce measurable effects on physical instruments. Your thoughts are not invisible, powerless events in your head. They are real forces that interact with the field of substance all around you. The formation process. Here's how something goes from thought to physical reality. Step 1. The clear thought. You form a specific, clear, mental image of what you want. Not vague, specific. You see it in detail. Step 2. The emotional charge. You infuse that thought with feeling. Gratitude, excitement, certainty. This gives it energy and momentum. Step 3. The faith element. You hold this image with absolute conviction that it's already yours. Not hope, not wish, knowing. Step 4. The impression on substance. Your thought, charged with emotion and faith, impresses itself on the formless substance that permeates everything. Step 5. The organization of substance. The substance begins to organize itself to create the thing you're thinking about. Not magically, through natural channels and opportunities. Step 6. The manifestation. The thing appears in your life through a series of events that seem natural, but are actually the result of your focused thought. This isn't instant. Don't expect to think about $1 million today and find it under your pillow tomorrow. The substance moves at its own pace. Sometimes manifestation is quick. Sometimes it takes time as all the pieces align. Your job is to hold the thought consistently, not to dictate the timing. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't plant it and then dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You plant it, water it, give it sunlight, and trust the process. Why positive thinking fails most people. You've probably heard about positive thinking. Maybe you've tried it and it didn't work. Here's why. Most people think positively for 5 minutes, then spend the rest of the day thinking, speaking, and acting in complete opposition to what they want. They visualize wealth in the morning, then spend the day complaining about being broke, worrying about bills, and talking about how hard everything is. That's like planting a seed, then immediately pouring poison on it. Thinking in a certain way means thinking correctly all the time, not just during your visualization session. Focused versus scattered thought. Imagine sunlight. Spread out, it warms you gently. Focused through a magnifying glass, it starts fires. Same light. Different effects based on focus. Your thoughts work the same way. Scattered thoughts produce weak, scattered results. Focused thoughts produce powerful, concentrated results. Most people have the power of sustained thought. Here's what actually works. You form one clear image of what you want. You see it specifically. You feel the reality of having it. You hold that image consistently, day after day, without wavering. Every time a contrary thought comes up, "This is impossible. Who am I kidding? This never works," you immediately replace it with your clear image and the feeling of already having it. This sustained, focused, emotionally charged thought is like a laser beam cutting through everything in its path. The formless substance has to respond. It's the law. Why this seems hard? Your mind has been trained by years of doubt, worry, and negative thinking. Holding a positive thought consistently feels unnatural at first, like trying to write with your opposite hand. But like any skill, it gets easier with practice. The question is, are you willing to discipline your thinking for a few weeks to change your entire financial future? Most people aren't. That's why most people stay poor. Thought plus gratitude equals multiplication. Here's a key element most people miss: gratitude. When you think about what you want and feel genuine gratitude as if you already have it, you turbocharge the entire process. Gratitude tells the formless substance, "This is real. This is mine. I accept it." Wanting without gratitude tells the substance, "This is lacking. This is missing. I don't have it." See the difference in the signal you're sending? More gratitude equals faster manifestation. We'll go deeper into gratitude in a later chapter, but understand this now. Grateful people get rich faster than ungrateful people. It's mathematical. The mental image must be clear. Vague thoughts produce vague results. Clear thoughts produce clear results. Don't think, "I want to be financially comfortable." Think, "I have $10,000 per month in passive income flowing to me effortlessly." Don't think, "I'd like a nice house." Think, "I'm living in my beautiful 3-bedroom home with a view of the mountains, feeling grateful every morning when I wake up there." The more specific your mental image, the more specific the manifestation. You're already creating, just poorly. Here's something that might shock you. You're already using this creative power of thought. Every condition in your life right now, your bank account, your relationships, your health, is the result of your past thinking. You created your current reality through your habitual thoughts. The problem? You've been creating unconsciously, randomly, often negatively. Now you're going to create consciously, deliberately, positively. Same power, different direction. The test. Want to test if this is true? For the next 7 days, do this experiment. 1. Choose one thing you want, something specific, but not too large, so you can see results faster. 2. Form a clear mental image of already having it. 3. Multiple times per day, close your eyes, see that image, and feel the gratitude of having it. 4. Every time you catch yourself thinking opposite thoughts, immediately replace them with your clear image. 5. Watch what happens. Don't analyze. Don't doubt. Don't quit before 7 days. Just follow the process and observe. I guarantee you'll see movement toward your goal if you do this consistently. The foundation is set. You now understand the foundational principle. Thought is creative power. You understand that there's a formless substance responding to your thoughts. You understand that clear, focused, emotionally charged, sustained thought impresses itself on this substance and produces physical results. This is not a belief. This is not an opinion. This is scientific law. Now, let's build on this foundation and get into the practical application. Chapter 5. Increasing Life, the True Purpose of Wealth. Before we go further into how to get rich, you need to understand why to get rich. Because if your why is weak or misguided, you'll either fail to manifest wealth, or you'll manifest it and feel empty. Here's the real purpose of getting rich: to increase life. What increasing life means. Every living thing has an inherent drive to expand, grow, and express itself more fully. A seed doesn't stay a seed. It becomes a plant, then produces more seeds. That's increasing life. A child doesn't stay helpless. They learn, grow, develop skills, and become independent. That's increasing life. You are hardwired to want more. More experiences, more knowledge, more capability, more expression of who you truly are. This isn't greed. This is nature. The desire for more is natural and right. Society has tried to make you feel guilty for wanting more. Be grateful for what you have. Money doesn't bring happiness. Wanting more is selfish. This is poverty propaganda designed to keep you small. The truth? Wanting more is proof you're alive. Not wanting more is spiritual death. God, the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it, wants you to have more. Wants you to express yourself fully. Wants you to live abundantly. Accepting less than you're capable of is an insult to the creative power that made you. The 3 motives for getting rich. There are only 3 real reasons people want wealth. 1. The body. To live in comfort, eat well, be healthy, and experience physical pleasures without limitation. 2. The mind. To learn, travel, read, explore, and develop intellectually without financial constraints. 3. The soul. All 3 are valid. All 3 are necessary for a complete life. Anyone telling you to ignore one of these, to focus on the others, is teaching you poverty disguised as wisdom. Poverty prevents growth. You cannot fully develop your mind while worried about rent. You cannot fully develop your body while eating cheap, unhealthy food because it's all you can afford. You cannot fully develop your soul while stressed about survival. Poverty shrinks life. Wealth expands it. This is why getting rich isn't selfish. It's essential to becoming your best self and giving your best to the world. The service paradox. Some people say, I don't care about money. I want to serve and help people. Noble, but flawed. You cannot serve at your highest level while broke. A broke doctor can help a few patients. A wealthy doctor can build hospitals and help thousands of people. A broke teacher can educate their students. A wealthy teacher can fund schools and impact millions. Money multiplies your ability to serve. So if you truly want to make a difference, get rich. Then use that wealth to amplify your service. The success of your children depends on you. If you're a parent, listen carefully. Your first obligation is not just to love your children. It's to provide them with abundance so they can develop to their full potential. A child growing up in poverty, no matter how loved, is disadvantaged. Limited opportunities, limited experiences, limited development. If you truly love your children, you'll get rich so they have every advantage possible to become their best selves. Don't hide behind love is enough. Love plus resources is better. The gift to your partner. If you're in a relationship, your partner deserves your financial success. Not because they're materialistic, because a financially secure partnership is a peaceful partnership. Money problems destroy more relationships than almost any other issue. When money is handled correctly, you both have the freedom to focus on growth, connection, and joy instead of stress and survival. Getting rich is an act of love for everyone in your life. Society benefits from your wealth. Here's what most people don't understand. You getting rich helps everyone. When you prosper, you create jobs and opportunities for others, pay taxes that fund public services, spend money that circulates through the economy, model what's possible for others to aspire to, have resources to contribute to causes you care about. Your poverty helps no one. Your wealth helps everyone. Stop feeling guilty for wanting money. Start feeling responsible for getting it. The creative versus competitive mindset, revisited. Remember earlier when we talked about competition versus creation? Here's where it connects. When your purpose is increasing life, yours and others, you automatically shift into the creative mindset. You're not trying to take from others. You're trying to create more value, more abundance, more life for everyone. This mindset shift is crucial because the formless substance responds more powerfully to creative thoughts than competitive thoughts. Think, how can I create value? Not, how can I beat others? Wealth allows full self-expression. You have talents, gifts, and capabilities you haven't fully expressed yet. Why? Because you've been too busy surviving to thrive. Imagine having complete financial freedom. What would you create? How would you serve? What would you contribute? That's who you really are. That's what you're meant to do. Wealth permits you to finally be that person. The danger of settling. The biggest tragedy that's not humility. That's fear disguised as contentment. The universe wants you living at your highest potential. Anything less is a waste. How to know if your desire is pure? Some people want wealth for unhealthy reasons, to prove their worth, to gain power over others, to feed their ego, to avoid dealing with inner issues. These motivations create suffering, even if wealth is achieved. The healthy motivation is, I want wealth to increase life, mine and others, so I can express myself fully and contribute maximally. If that's your motivation, you're aligned with universal will. The substance will cooperate with you fully. If your motivation is ego or fear-based, you'll struggle and suffer, even if you get rich. Your new purpose statement. Starting today, replace I want to be rich with this. I intend to be rich, so I can live fully, express completely, and contribute maximally. My wealth increases life for myself and everyone around me. One is. Feel the difference in that statement? One is about taking. One is about expanding. The universe responds to the second one with unlimited support. What's coming in part 2? You now understand. Getting rich is your right and responsibility. It follows scientific laws that anyone can learn. Opportunity is unlimited and available to you right now. Thought is a creative power that shapes reality. The true purpose of wealth is to increase life. But understanding is only the beginning. In part 2, you'll discover 4. The exact way to think that attracts wealth like a magnet. 4. How to use gratitude as your most powerful wealth-building tool. 5. Specific actions you must take and the ones you must never take. 5. How to receive the wealth that's coming to you. The daily practices that make wealth inevitable. How to maintain wealth once you have it. Part 1 gave you the foundation, the why and the principles. Part 2 gives you the blueprint, the how and the action steps. End of part 1. Your action steps. Here's what you've learned. Getting rich is a science. Specific laws, specific results. Opportunity is unlimited. Wealth is constantly being created. Thought creates reality. Your focused mind shapes your circumstances. The purpose of wealth is increasing life, yours and others. Before part 2, do this. 1. Accept it. Say out loud, "It is my right to be rich. I accept wealth now." 2. Choose one goal. Pick a specific financial target for the next 90 days. Example, I receive $5,000 in additional income. 3. See it clearly. Close your eyes. Visualize having it already. Feel grateful for 60 seconds. 4. Replace poverty thoughts. For 24 hours, catch yourself thinking, "I can't afford this," and replace it with, "Money flows to me easily." Don't stop here. Part 1 gave you the foundation. Part 2 gives you the action blueprint. In Part 2, you'll discover the exact daily practices that attract wealth, how to use gratitude as your most powerful tool, the specific actions that turn thoughts into money, how to receive and maintain wealth. Most people stop here. Don't be like most people. The transformation happens when you complete the process. Go to part 2 now while you have momentum. Your wealthy future is waiting.